Welcome back, everyone. So this session is about FIS line of businesses, and we have FIS India leadership team here to explain us on a bird's eye view about FIS line of businesses and their sub-units and how exactly we're innovating on those areas. And we'll touch upon about how partners are currently working as well to some extent. Now, future sessions are also designed to go in depth. So this session is supposed to be on a higher level so that startups will be able to get orientation about FIS ecosystem and which building block they should be looking at based on their current technology stack. So with that, I'll start for the introductions around the table. So we have Vikash Sharma today, Senior Vice President, IT Division, Executive at FIS. Vikash has more than 15 years of experience with FIS. He has played vital roles in setting up and growing India centers. He is instrumental in setting up core banking and payment competencies in India. Currently, he's managing FIS India PS and client experience, professional services client experience team in banking and payments with more than 3,500 resources. When he's not working, he's busy conquering the valleys of Himachal and Pindara Glacier in Uttarakhand. He also plays badminton and golf. Before FIS, Vikas has worked with BPCL, HCL, eFunds, transferred globally. Our next speaker is from merchant side, is Ravi Saraswat, and he's Senior Director Development at FIS Global. Ravi has extensively worked with banking and payments and later moved to merchant. In a sense, he's best of both worlds. Ravi started his journey with ATL, OnTrack, Spottingill, and later moved to TechM before he joined FIS. Ravi's passion is also biking. He's part of various biking clubs. He's currently learning music as well. And in addition to FIS role, he manages two twin daughters and they are young ones. I'll switch to the last speaker of the session. We have Kaushik Chatterjee, who is Senior Director Technology Capital Markets at FIS Global. Kaushik has spent his entire career in financial services, majority in capital markets across compliance and regulatory reporting. He has been with FIS for 14 years and having worked in solutions on trade surveillance, market manipulation, commercial lending, auto and asset lending. He has experience in leading both technology and services team. Currently, he is leading lending group with capital markets. Away from work, he also loves travel with his family to lesser known and offbeat places that are closer to nature. With that, I will hand over to each speaker for their more deeper introductions, their history with FIS and their responsibilities that they have. Over to Vikash for your introduction.
Thank you, Prashant. This is Vikash Sharma, and very warm welcome to all the partners on this Innovating 48 Partners edition. I think you summarized well in a sense that, yes, with FIS 15 years, current responsibilities, I take care of global delivery organization for the banking segment, and whereby everything on the banking and payment products and solutions that FIS offers in different geographies, across North America, Europe region, Asia Pacific, and all other places, so wherever we have these implementations going on, conversions going on, upgrades going on, this is where myself and my team pitch in. So very happy to be on this in this as part of the panel, and so yeah, and on a personal front, yes, interest in hiking, done 4 or 5 trackings. Pandemic obviously has put a setback for last 2 years, but eager to go. I'm definitely looking forward going next year for sure. So yeah, Prashant, is it more introduction or should I just go in terms of what we do in the banking and payment area as well?
Absolutely, Vikash. So the next question is about the FIS innovation and how exactly
let's just cover that
internally and externally, so that that insight will be connecting our startup ecosystem to FIS ecosystem as well as the internal innovations initiatives that we have. So over to you, Vikash, for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm based out of bank. I mean, innovation, FIS, I think, just for for the audience, I'm sure many of you who would be looking into this would know that FIS has been ranked as has continuously for last 2 years, 2021, 2022, by Fast Company magazine in top hundreds, top 100 US companies, who basically propagate, who basically create the culture of innovations within the organization, right? So from that perspective, we are living and breathing. And how do we do that? There are multiple forums. Obviously, the internal and external, if I have to categorize them, right? From the internal perspective, it's 10 year in running now. We call it Innovate in 48 Employee Edition. Across the globe of FIS, our employees participates, they form teams, they participate, and then there's the whole go through the whole sessions with the finals actually either happening in Europe or somewhere in Asia Pacific or in US. Again, last 2 years has been a little challenge because of COVID non-travels, but we have teams across the world who participates and compete for the top positions. 10 years in running. Innovate on, which is we do that, which is mostly through our portal, where our own employees put in their ideas. You go through them, you find interest in those, you try to get it funding through your lines of businesses or some other mechanisms. The biggest piece from the internal perspective is FI is such a heavy product IP driven company. And if you look at the financials of FIS year over year, we put in a lot of our money back into our products through the product and tech organizations, where we are doing a lot of work around automation aspects on the processes, and we are also creating new products. Our revenue that we earn through new product innovations has also been going up on a year basis. So these are the, you could say, broad three forums, Prashant, and audience, when we talk about innovate, from the internal perspective. From an external perspective, again, we have an accelerator programs, we have a venture and alliance partner programs, a very focused group, which is constantly looking at those, from the accelerator program perspective, your early stage. Every year, 10 startups are identified. Objective is to work with FIS clients, and products. Then we also have venture funding, through this arm and the alliance partner program, right? We also run Innovate in 48 clients, where our clients actually, participate along with us. And now, what we're talking about, innovation in 48 partners edition, right? So there are a lot of, I would say, mechanisms available, forums available, so to say, Prashant, in within the FIS. And, we have been on this journey, being a product driven IP company, this is in our ethos, this is in our culture.
You are on mute, Prashant.
Sorry for that. So thanks, Vikash. There's a wonderful introduction about how we are doing internal innovation, and with external innovation, also with startups, partners, alliance partners, strategic partners, etc. Now let's move to the flagship products for banking and payments. We have many startups who are aligned to this particular segment, and it will be great if you can tell us about the marquee products that we have, flagship products that we have in banking and payments. I'm sure that the broader ecosystem is large. Given in the interest of time, if you can focus on the flagship products which are traction with the partners, that would be great. Over to you.
Sure. So what I will cover is, so look at it. I mean, as I said, we have been in the business for long. We have been the fintech number one for years over years. We have, always stand on the pedestal for that. Very, very large ecosystem. I mean, I'm going to concentrate primarily on the banking and payments space, right? And we provide solutions in all forms and shape. And by that I mean is there are hosted platforms, right, where we run the full, let's say, operations for the financial institution, and then we also have our products and solutions deployed in financial institutions data centers, right? And so both offerings are there. Now imagine a company, if you're running the whole operations aspect, so it's like all products, whether it's related to the core bank platforms, where we're talking about the deposits, the lending, the customers aspects, the payments aspects, or the risk products. You talk about the integration layers. You talked about the channels, which is self-serving channels like mobile or internet, or you talk about assistant channels like tellers, when you run a bank, right? So we have products across all these, and some of these, since you mentioned about some of these flagship products, right? And over the years, like we have like systematics and profile, which has been basically taking care of our large financial institutions, the largest of the largest financial institutions like Citibank, BMO, TD Bank, you name it, INGs of the world, and I'm not naming, it's difficult to name, everything, but I'm just giving just as a sample example, right? So some of these products are addressed, where they're taking about, meeting the needs of these large financial institutions. And then we also have very specific solutions, addressing our largest area, from the revenue perspective of, today's opportunity perspective, North America, where we have hosted platforms taking care of mid-tier banks, right? And even the community banks, right? Where again, the full infrastructure end to end, from the operations perspective is provided by FIS, right? Then, on the banking, on the payment side, we have products on our credit platforms. We have products related to the debits, the prepaids, the switch platforms. Some of these are even sold, let's say in India. I'm sure you would be able to relate if I mention a few names like IST, switch, right? It's a very penetrated switch platform that FIS use in this region and across the world, right? And then we also again providing solutions to the banks. We have decision solutions, where you can think of ID verifications, ID authentications, right? Largest debit platforms that we run in North America, right? From we have a product called Qualify, where which gives a debit score. When a customer, where these financial institutions have tied up to our services, you can give a debit score, letting the institutions know, like how you have the credit worth, what is the score for a person, right? And obviously the loyalty programs, right? So all these solutions, offerings is available across the world for FIS. And a little bit tied to an idea where I was saying about internal innovation, right, around our products, through our product organizations and technology division. One of the latest offering from FIS is modern banking platform, right? Build ground up, no just the layering aspect, build ground up on open technologies, cloud deployments, multi-tenant, multi-lingual, multi-currency, multi-time zones, you name it, what, right? We got such a big traction on these platforms. 8 to 10 different implementations going in North America, and we are also trying to address the international market, having signed a large deal very recently. So and then similarly, right? I mean, this modernization program, what I call it, you can tie it to an innovation programs as well, on the payment sides, and I'm sure, my peers will tell you around modernization drive that's happening around our product suites, in merchants and in capital market as well. One of the thing that Prashant, since you mentioned, it's worth mentioning here is about our ecosystem, where you can think it in terms of where partners can come in, right? Partners, even our clients, or clients partners, or just the fintech organizations, who's trying to build solutions, right? And that is through FIS Code Connect program, whereby around our cores on the banking and payment side, right? These are all published cores, and people can build solutions around those, consume those, and bring build apps around that. One of the things that for sure is coming in near future is and it's happening actually as we speak, in the area of embedded finance, right, or banking as a service. I think this is another big door that would open up for partners to come in and look for opportunities around the world in this space. Over to you, Prashant, unless you have any specific thing there.
Thanks, Vikash. I think this was a very nice bird's eye view about banking and payments. So in summary, those partners who are looking for working with banks as a new bank, or working with banks as a implementation partners, or building on top of the switch and IST, or working with us on the IDV or decision-making products, or fraud protection products, or loyalty programs. I think this is a wonderful opportunity to work with FIS Code Connect APIs.
Absolutely.
And innovations.
Absolutely, Prashant. Yeah.
Yeah. And we do have another session which is going to cover the FIS Code Connect. The intention of this session was to highlight a couple of key areas in banking and payments. How do we move value? How do we store value? And how do we innovate around this ecosystem was the intent of this 5 minutes. And now let's work with the second topic about the capital markets. So I will move now to Kaushik. So Kaushik, if you want to start with your role and what areas that you work with. Already I've introduced you on a high level, but I want probably you to give more in-depth understanding about the ecosystem that you play around with, the past and history and the future, and then we'll go to the key topics about the capital markets itself. So over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Prashant. And welcome to all the partners. Delighted to see this happening, that we have an Innovate 48 partner edition, as Vikash was saying, taking innovation really to the next level. The employee, the client, and now the partners. FIS is all about innovation. So quickly, a little bit about myself, as Prashant already spoke briefly about it. Have been with FIS for 14 years, evolved in the journey, starting with in the capital markets, things like trade surveillance, market manipulation, regulatory reporting, and then moving on more recently, I'm currently running the commercial lending leasing platform, a very interesting area, extremely fast growth there. And the pandemic has actually opened up a plethora of opportunities on the credit side. And what FIS is doing is how that credit can be accessed easily at lightning speed. So that's where I am currently. If I want to go back real quick about pre-FIS days, I started my journey with Philips, interesting embedded systems work, moved to CMC, where it was all financial services and treasury, spent a few years with Oracle, again on the financial services side, and the last 14 years has been with FIS. So that's a little bit about myself. Also want to add that, I have been one of the players in driving through innovation in the early days in the FIS India, setting up a platform, ideation platform, driving through rewards recognition and all. So it's been a very exciting journey. Now I'll move on to the capital market side, what we do, what we are all about. The name suggests it's all about, or a lot of it is about the investment banking side. So capital markets, a suite of products. We are moving our strategy more to platforms, driving superior user and client experience. And as we heard about the Code Connect, right, we are moving on a strategy of more and more APIs that our clients and any partners can use and extend. And overall, FIS plays in this ecosystem of capital markets, because this is an age of disruption. This is a time when we have to work in a collaborative ecosystem. So capital markets consists of 4 broad business lines. Investment operations and data services is the first one. Mostly focuses on fund management, asset managers, private equity funds, corporate actions, stuff like reconciliation, trade reconciliation, matching, exception handling, and so on. The next one is treasury and risk. And this, as the name suggests, is talking about the treasury and cash management, insurance on one side, And risk is very interesting because risk is across the board. So whether it is banking book risk, or it is the trading side risk, or energy and commodity risk, all of these are offered in this treasury and risk business line. Third, we have the front to back of trading. So it's from front office, where we have the trading systems right up to the clearing and settlement in the back office. And then we have compliance and regulatory reporting and things like tax processing. And then last but not the least, as I said, and I'm part of this group, so it's very close to my heart, is lending, where we look at the commercial lending, auto and asset leasing. And it's all about credit, how credit can be made available easily with a great experience to the customer and at the speed of lightning. So that's about what capital markets business is all about. Prashant, do you want me to continue on the key initiatives, or any questions? Should I pause for a moment?
No, Kaushik, I think we don't have questions so far, but I think it's a very nice overview of the capital markets, and I would like to take a pause here to summarize this to the partners who have been setting questions earlier. So any startup which is in asset management, private equity, so there is a lot of activity happening on the payment side, generating a lot of data. And that data essentially is giving a good amount of insights about how leasing or lending can be customized, and not just looking into the asset side of it, but liability side of it as well. And there's a lot of innovation happening around the consent-based mechanisms, as well as credit bureau, as well as health ID, where you can aggregate the information across multiple areas and create some kind of a better intelligence on top of that. So those startups who are working on those areas essentially can connect with the capital market ecosystem very well. The initiatives and key areas that Kaushik will be talking about further are quite interesting. But just to summarize, we have received a lot of applications into the areas of credit data, how augmented data, alternate data can help, and how that in turn can help to increase the experience, customer experience, personalization or hyper personalization. And this is the place that you belong to if you are in those areas. Thanks. And again, back to Kaushik for the key initiatives.
Sure, Prashant, thanks. And that's a great point, because that is something that we are actually working on, that partners can, excuse me, the partners can look forward to, and we will definitely be eager to look at opportunities where all of this data can help in taking quick and precise decisions on giving credit.
Right. Now, the next topic, Kaushik, is the key initiatives. So if you can take us through the exciting journey of the new initiatives and key initiatives that you're working on, that would be great.
Sure. So let me run through some of the key initiatives that is happening across our capital market space. A lot of conversations around risk, and the industry is, and the clients are looking for everything as a service. So given that we have a multitude of risk platforms, one of the big initiatives is how we can make risk as a service available to our clients. So while we have all the different kinds of risk, whether it is the trading side risk, how a particular entity has counterparty risk exposure, or is it the banking side of risk on the banking book? And as I spoke about, the commodity risk. So having a platform where the clients can hook into and get different kinds of risk as a service based on specific data sets that they supply. So that's a big initiative. A lot of our clients and the industry are looking forward to it and has given a thumbs up. So that's one of the key initiatives out there. Vikash spoke about modernization. So a lot of investment in our flagship products and platform modernization that's happening. And what do we mean by modernization? Modernization means we are moving to cloud native. We are moving to microservices and containers, and looking at how we can best leverage the AI ML in smart decision making. Now that brings me to another interesting flavor, which Prashant has already touched upon, is the smart lending platform. So there is a lot of data, as Prashant was talking about, whether it is on the payment side, on the financial health of a particular entity. So what we are looking at as an initiative is, for certain amount of loans, how at no touch or low touch can a loan be approved. And that's a summary of the smart lending platform, leveraging AI ML, all different data as a service for quick yes on a credit request. So that's a quick. Yeah.
Prashant, just, I mean, one of the fundamental aspect, and I presume, I do believe that Kaushik and Ravi would agree, is that when we are doing this modernization journey, right, for our existing product suites as well, right, one of the things is also around when you build these ground ups and all those things, you look for openness, right? And when you make your platform open, it gives an opportunity for the partners from all walks of life to come in and build things around that. So that's one of the core aspect as well. I just wanted to highlight that.
Sure. Thanks, Vikas, for bringing it up. That's exactly one of the facets of the modernization we are doing, is more open API, more connection to other third-party platforms. And
Right.
I'm going to speak a little later as well. One of the ground-up development we have done on commercial loan origination has all the things like open APIs, talking to third-party platforms like the Salesforce and various other systems, and follows an event-driven architecture, which is the need of the day.
Exactly the story of modern banking as well. Absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah. It just expands your ecosystem.
Right. And that is the need of the hour. You need to have more collaboration and more play in a wider ecosystem. Thanks, Vikas, for bringing that in.
Thanks, Vikas. And I'd like to take a pause here to go through when we're going through the application, there are quite interesting startups. I won't name them, but I will explain on a high level where exactly the play between the startups and the specific area that Kaushik talked about. I had opportunity to go through that list, and there are pretty innovative startups into the space tech, and they are providing the data with respect to the satellite imagery, and based on that we can understand the production of a mine, and based on that commodity markets can essentially take advantage of that data, because usual data will take a lot of time to reach regulators and then from there broadcast to the market. But here you have innovative startups in space space that are providing that data, which are helping which we probably help in the commodity market space. They're already working with a couple of hedge funds. The other type of startups are into the area which is 5G or telco data, which is location data, and how exactly that can be augmented with the risk areas. For example, if you have the walking data or location data within specific area, you can understand what kind of a popularity that area is, and if your merchant is in that area, then credit of merchant is something that can be assessed. In addition to that, we have multiple startups who are working into diverse areas like POS analytics, based on how exactly people are buying, selling things at various locations, which are giving understanding about which locations are popular for what like products, etc. And then right from the light intensity on the ground and how that data can be combined to get intelligence about what is the popularity of that area, and then how do you plan for ATMs, how do you plan for the merchant locations, and the wonderful areas which are coming into the data from the utility. In fact, India has this consent-based mechanism now. You can aggregate data of customers across. Hopefully this will pick up. There is a new regulation which is pushing those things, and we are able to now get the consent-based access to the information of the customers. And I'm looking forward for such kind of startups which can be augmenting their capabilities via consent-based, via health ID, moving from open banking to open insurance to open finance. And beyond that, to get a new framework in place which will help the Kaushik's area, which is getting the decision faster with low touch or no touch in terms of lending, in terms of risk, in terms of client experiences, etc. So thanks, Kaushik. And now can we move to the part where the future? So far we discussed about what is the current state and how exactly that is evolving. But we'd like to know from you about how the future is for capital markets, or future of innovation, to be more precise.
Sure, Prashant. And future is always exciting. So let's look at what is the exciting piece that we are looking at. So I'll try to cover in certain areas or focus areas, if I can call it. First, talking a little bit about some of the digital assets in capital markets. And this future, when I say, is something that we are investing now for probably a 2 to 5 year journey. Crypto is a big buzzword, and we have got very robust trading platforms. So how we can support, trading in crypto exchanges, as more and more regulations come in with respect to cryptos, how we can support those regulations and regulatory compliance for the exchanges that are, platforms for crypto trading. So focus on crypto in terms of the trading side to begin with. There's a lot more, and I'm sure that will get covered by John when he does a deep dive on it. The second interesting piece is on smart contracts in the loan syndication and or collateral management space. So once again, Hyperledger and how we can secure those contracts is another important aspect where we are, one, investing, two, looking for partners who have this already in place. So that's an area for even the partners, a call out on looking for smart contracts in the loan syndication and collateral space. And then the third big piece, and this is very interesting as you spoke about the entire ecosystem here, right? So look at a merchant, a small time player who doesn't have a very strong balance sheet, but does need a loan. A financial institution who would look at those balance sheets to give the loan. How we can bring them together. So SMB lending space, how based on maybe their transaction data, some other information, how we can still create curated loan products for the merchants, delivering a superior experience on the lending and credit, and helping the merchant to grow the business. And then all of this also coupling with digital wallets. Can those repayments happen with digital wallets? The world is dramatically getting disrupted. So these are a few things on the digital assets. That's where the future we are looking towards. So I'll move to the next part, which is, data as a service. A lot of conversations on the data. And here again, I feel a lot of opportunities for partners as we look at things like the risk as a service driven off the data as a service part. And similarly on the commercial lending, as I said, it's a front to back system that we have. We are looking at data lakes that can help devise decisions on loan products, devise decisions on the risk adjusted interest rate for the financial institution, and things like the smart lending. So plenty of opportunities here as we look at the data as a service platform. And then another big buzzword, climate risk, ESG. So a lot of things happening in the ESG space as well. And very interesting, we are exploring, can we be kind of a data hub for ESG? Or can we partner with someone who is already a data hub for ESG or is providing risk scoring for ESG? Where does it help? On the lending side, more and more of the financial institutions are becoming conscious about ESG and are looking for ESG footprint for the client, the commercial institution, and based on that, the lending products and the risk-adjusted rates are getting decided. So that's in terms of the data play in capital markets. And when we look at data play, not far behind can be the AI. So the data has to be then analyzed. And we have a lot of things happening on the AI in capital markets as well. We are partnering once again here with some firms for building models for the smart lending platform, for building models for automated trade surveillance, market manipulation, flagging exceptions. And then we are also leveraging AI and OCR for financial spreading automation. Now, what does this mean? So, in the lending parlance, we need to look at the balance sheets of a firm to determine what is the loan product that a financial institution can give. Now, these balance sheets are huge PDFs generally. So we are automating through OCR-based scanning and AI models to push all of this like in a few seconds, large PDFs probably in a few minutes, and then run the risk models to determine what is the financial health of the commercial institution that is seeking a loan here. And then there is AI on the CX side as well, superior client experience. Before I go there, Prashant, anything you wanted to summarize or any questions from the partners?
Not yet, Kaushik. So please go on, and probably I'll summarize after the AI point.
Okay. So for client experience also, given that across the board, there is this need to drive productivity upwards, have greater efficiency, we are leveraging AI in multiple different ways. Very simple. In how do we drive client experience better? We have a lot of requests for things like password reset or tickets getting aligned to the right team once the client locks the ticket. We are leveraging AI to cut down a lot of this manual intervention here, driving a superior client experience, tickets reaching the right queue faster, a password reset getting turned around like real quick. You don't need any intervention there. So that's one example of leveraging AI for the client experience. Another important aspect which has come by talking to clients and or connect with sales and account management teams is leveraging intelligent analytics on client hotspots in product usage. How are they using the product? What are the areas that they're probably not so much familiar with? And how we can turn those into opportunities? Maybe more trainings, maybe more discussions on what features the client would like to see in the product. So a lot of these data-driven analytics is helping us drive superior client experience. And here again, we see opportunities for partners to come up with any models, any recommendations they have that can help us continue this drive for a superior client experience.
Prashant, the areas are quite wide, and I know you have sessions, for deep down sessions, I don't know, today, tomorrow. But when generic that things come, right, especially when we were talking about this digital assets coming through, right? I mean, that itself is opening up, a lot of challenges across the ecosystem, right? I mean, using existing payment rails to augment digital asset infrastructure, right? Existing players like FIS, who know this game, right? And then these new startups coming through, right? How they can leverage this, right? Connecting these payment rails to off-ramp and on-ramp digital assets, with right partner, it opens up a lot of things. I'm saying more, at a conceptual, at a higher level, fully knowing that you have detailed sessions going forward. It does opens up, just this digital assets, countries, opening up digital currencies itself, right? It will open up more and more, and I'm sure a lot of opportunities would generate, whereby companies like FIS, and these partners can come in and work in collaboration with FIS.
Thanks, Prakash. So I'd like to take a pause here to just go through the applications and what I have observed so far. So Kaushik and Vikash, there are startups which are very innovative, and what they are actually trying to do is quite interesting. So based on that, probably I'll explain my futuristic, I'll say, dream So as an individual, I like to have multiple identities, right? And if I have Prashant as an identity and XYZ in the metaverse and ABC into other metaverse, and based on that, my data is owned by me, and the data is aggregated across, and then based on that, not just the financial data, but my health data, my data related to utilities, my data related to my travel, my data related to XYZ as well. And that is something which is on my consent only, right? It's not just belonging to one corporate, one insurance company. And there is some kind of a certification, regulation, compliance coming from the central authorities just to make sure that it is protecting the ownership of data, and not just ownership of data, but has a good mechanism to have these identities across. And there are startups which are working on identity-based management systems to make sure that this foundational problem is resolved. We have a nice session coming up tomorrow about identity, and then how that identity is attached to data, and how that data is getting generated using payment platforms, health platforms, and other platforms like e-commerce platforms, and how do you aggregate all these things together and create more innovative products in lending, into various new products that are coming into the market in terms of customized or configurable rates for each individual as well as companies, right? So there is a good amount of startups which are in the Web3 area also, and into more kind of new innovative models where you can move from TradFi to DeFi and everything in between. So thanks, Kaushik, for very good understanding about what capital markets is in data and on AI, and how exactly on top of that we probably is going to be having a future on the digital assets in capital markets. Now, let's move to the merchants area, which is the third pillar within FIS. So over to you, Ravi, to first give a bit more about yourself, and then move to the merchant solutions and top level of view of that, and what are the futuristic trends in the merchant solutions, how we are working on with various partners. And one thing here I'd like to reemphasize, the APIs that you see here are not just FIS APIs. There are wrappers around the partner APIs that are there in merchant solutions, which essentially are leveraging the collaborations that we have in partners. And that's where I think we'll be focusing on the next session as well. So Ravi, over to you for merchant discovery.
So thanks, Prashant. So thank you first for the lovely introduction you started with, and thank you for having me here. I'm very excited to be part of this forum. I can already sense the buzz and the brilliance around us. Thanks, Vikash and Kaushik, for the insights that they provided. So probably I'll just start with a background of myself, my quick career journey. So I started in 1999 as a developer, primarily into software consulting, working in the Microsoft technologies. From there on until like 10 years into my career, I was primarily, into solutioning roles, software development, etc. And during these 10 years, I actually moved to Europe for a couple of years, worked for a company called Softingle. From there, I came back to India. I joined a startup called Second Foundation, which then got acquired by FIS. So, and just after they acquired, after a few months, I left FIS or Second Foundation and joined Tech Mahindra, which is where I actually learned about the transformational and modernization programs, large programs, how they are managed and how they are run. In fact, I got an opportunity to lead one of the transformation programs for one of our clients, British Telecom, in Los Angeles. I was there for about a year, came back, and then I joined FIS in 2009, right, end of 2009. So when I joined FIS, actually it was a very different shift, because I came from a consulting background, and joining into a product engineering group was completely a makeshift. But to be honest, I am so thrilled to be at FIS since then. So in fact, from 2009 onwards, I worked on core banking platforms in the banking products, e-banking, mobile banking, and close to 10 years is what I continued to work on banking areas until 2019, which is when FIS actually acquired WorldPay. and I chose a path to actually move on and learn the new domain payments and merchants, which really excited me. So I moved there in WorldPay for like about 2 years, 2.5 years now, and I've been managing the products and product engineering teams in India since then. So that's the background about how I came, what's my evolution in terms of consulting to banking to merchant solutions. I can tell you one thing, my personal opinion, I definitely like the engineering, product engineering element more. I feel it's more intriguing and involving. So that's about me. Let me talk about merchant solutions as such as a group, right? So as the name suggests, right, merchant solutions essentially is solving problems of merchants, and we are providing essentially commerce enabling solutions for all sizes and types of merchants, right? So if you see, you typically in the industry, you would categorize merchants into a SMB space, which is a small and medium businesses, or you will categorize them into enterprise space, right? The needs of both the types of merchants are definitely different, depend as the volume and the scale and the need is different. So what do we really do for the merchants? If you see, right, very simply put, for all our partners, we essentially take payments, make payments, and manage payments, right? So now talking about taking payments, right? How do you really take your payment? So as a merchant, you would want your customer to be able to pay via your typical credit card. What that is one, whether you are online, whether the card is present, or whether you're in person, right? Whether you are transacting on a POS machine, or you would want a person to be actually able to use any channel, right? So you can, so at this point we accept on any channel, whether it is face to face, mobile, wallet, bank transfers, ACH, direct debit, you call it, and we have it all. So from omni-channel perspective, we are covered everything. We cover all the channels. What then, as a customer, once you choose your channel, you probably want to go ahead and choose your payment method, right? Uh, we definitely support all the regular card payments. At the same time, with the world evolving around various alternate payment methods, which is BNPL. I'm sure you all of you heard about that. Buy now, pay later. Want to use your e-wallets. You may want to use your bank transfers, UPIs. You may want to use your local card schemes, right? Like you have Union Pays or prepaid cards. So all of those alternate payment methods, as we call it, are available in and we support them. So about 300 plus alternate payment methods are available for a customer to choose from, right? And you can pay of your choice. You can pay any, you can choose any payment method. We also have started partnering with marketplaces, right? We are accepting payments on a platform and a marketplace. Now, so that's about taking payments. If you see, right, you have option of taking all the payments. Moving forward, about how do you make payments? So or what do we do in make payments? Essentially, we are paying to the cards, domestic or international. We are paying out to accounts. We can send payments to anyone, anywhere. And then managing payments. Essentially, what we do in managing is three primary things. Optimize, so essentially to increase the revenue through optimization. We route the payment through the same way so that merchant incurs least cost. We provide intelligence to that. If there are tokenization, that options are also available. We protect the payment, right? That's the most critical. We have seen historically people are really losing money of the fraud. So how do we fight fraud? We have payments, we have products around that. And how do we manage risk for them? And then understand, providing the intelligence in terms of what are the types of payments. I think Prashant, you mentioned about some of the location or the POS specific intelligence. We provide those intelligent insights and reporting. Just giving you a brief of size and scale at which we function. We are world's #1 global acquirer. We are world's #1 e-commerce cross-border acquirer. We are actually transacting at a tune of about 110 million transactions on every day. 40 billion transactions plus are annually, and we support 300 plus alternate payment methods. We are in 146 countries. We are supporting 126 currencies, and now we settle in 16 plus currencies, including crypto now. The core verticals that we are functioning, some of the key verticals are digital, retail, um, airlines, gambling, and travel, right? So this, as an overview of merchant, this is what we do, right? So we take payments, make payments, and manage payments for them. So Prashant, that's the overview of merchant.
Yeah. Thanks, Ravi. So now moving to the key products. So now that we have kind of a bird's eye view of merchants, can you give us some idea about flagship products that we have in merchant space?
Yeah, sure. So see, if you see, we have, being the world's #1 global acquirer, we have a flagship product called WorldPay Gateway. It's also called WPG. It's a card not present payment gateway, essentially, for FIS's global e-commerce service. Uh, it's transacting in multiple currencies. Again, available to via 300 plus APMs or alternate payment methods. It provides fraud management, analytics, and reporting services. If to give you a number, approximately 15 million plus transactions are being done on that platform, and serving both enterprise and SMB merchants, right? Also, we are a global acquiring platform. From that perspective, we have two core acquiring platforms, one of which is also called NAP, or New Acquiring Platform. It's again a multi-geo and multi-currency platform with more than 30 million plus transactions processed every day. That's the scale at which, and it's available. It's globally available. We have POS solutions available for international as well as the US market. Uh, Products called WorldPay Total, which is primarily available in the UK and the Europe area, and then we have TriPOS and Express, which are available on the North American area. So total merchants, if you see from the point of sale or the card present, as we call them, are about 64,000 plus merchants is whom we support. We are supporting various terminals. We do terminal management for them. Terminals like Ingenico, Verifone, Mayura. These are the various terminals that we support. We are averaging average daily transaction is in tune of 15 million plus. So from the point of sale, which is the card present and the card not present, these are some of our key products.
Interesting on the payment side, FIS is big on issuing side as well, right? We provide issuing platform, right? So
yeah.
So there is a word of convergence, or an overlap between the merchant and the payment side, right? I mean, obviously we track it as two different segments, but and the other aspects, interestingly, just that came to my mind is on the alternate payment method that you mentioned, right?
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, Prashant, Vikash, I'll be actually talking. One of the interesting convergence is banking solutions and merchant solutions, which is the one of the key initiatives. I thought it'll be interesting for the partners to know about. Prashant, if you don't have anything, I'll go ahead and talk about that.
Sure, please go on.
So, one of the things that we saw is specifically in the area of how do we deliver the financial services to the historically saying the ones which are underserved, which is the small businesses, right? Small businesses of the world are some, they are basically essentially the power of the economy, but they are typically the underserved from the financial services perspective. So what we understand is that at core of their business, right, their core of the business is not really the financial services. They have their daily run, they have their daily activity, maybe selling something or trading on something, and at the end of the day they have a need to actually go ahead and do the cash in and the cash out, reconcile their general ledger, everything, right? And all of this is actually disconnected. They are at a disconnected place, right? So how are we really solving this problem, right? That's through the small business embedded finance, right? And really we are doing it in two ways. So let's say if you are a small business and you are used to using your banking application or digital application for doing your accounting work. Now FIS is actually empowering through our own digital front end, and is allowing you to do all that you were doing it from other digital. So you can now make payment, you can send invoices, you can reconcile down to your general ledger and pay bills all through a single banking experience, right? Or let's say if you are a merchant, right, and you are used to using a software for, let's say you have a shop and you're a small business and you have picked up a software package, right, which is actually acting as your storefront for your digital front, right? Let's say Etsy or Amazon, right? Or you are a restaurant, right, and you have a software package to do all your everyday activity, taking bills, etc., all of that. So what are we, and those software packages, right, are essentially the independent software vendors, ISPs as we call. So we are now partnering with them, right? We are partnering with platforms, right? So that we can give one single experience to all our small businesses in terms of how they will be doing their financial services. They can do all their financial services need, whether it is again reconciling to their general ledger, their cash in, cash out. And if you see, not only that, and I think Kaushik talked about credit. So this also actually allows, or talked about, I think, smart lending, right? This actually also allows the ability to automate the credit, right? So you can basis all of the accounting, there's a much more faster credit option which can be done. So really this is one of the initiative which is really bringing together all our banking capability and the merchant capability, and we are embedding it at the point of need, right, so that we can really make a difference in this space. So this is one of the key initiatives, Prashant. I know we are short of time. Let me know if you want me to continue.
Thanks, Ravi. In the interest of time, I think we wind up the session, and I think it's really exciting to understand the three key areas that we have. So, summary message to the partners and the startups who are here. So, doesn't matter whether you're in banking and payments, doesn't matter you're capital markets, or doesn't matter you're in merchant, there is something for you. So, right from the banking areas which we have, which is our flagship products, whether you want to be a neobank, you want to have a bank itself, you want to integrate with bank APIs, you want to play some role in decision-making solutions, frauds, loyalty programs, there is an opportunity for that. For acquiring APM, issuing payment rails, CBDCs, any innovations in those areas definitely are interesting. Moving to capital markets, anything which is on the lending marketplaces, peer-to-peer lending, advanced tech, AIML model, lending risk tech, digitalization of assets, loan servicing, cash flow analysis, financial data and ingestion analytics. These are key areas, interesting areas. And on merchant side, the world is wide open, where we have multiple opportunities, right from wrapping up an API of existing partner and providing that as an integrated API via FIS, or using those APIs for making the startup business more seamless for the customers, or having a very new value-added service added to the offering is also something which is interesting area. So now that we know what are the building blocks and where your startup may go into, the next session will take you into deeper understanding about what FIS APIs are available in each of these segments, and that will give you an understanding about what possibilities will emerge when you combine your technology stack with FIS APIs. So I'll end the session here, and we'll continue with the next session in the third session that you'll see, and hoping to see you in the next session. Thank you very much.